All right, Sag, let's start at the beginning. This is the Four of Wands. This does look like you may have gotten some invitations to either some kind of parties or gatherings. It does feel like you were pretty active during the summertime, and that you might have slowed down some of your activities, but it does feel like it's going to pick up during this month, and it will continue to pick up until the end of the year, it feels, Sagittarius. So it does feel like you may be getting invited to maybe barbecues, bar mitzvahs, whatever it is. But it does feel like you will be coming out of your shell a little bit more and more as we get closer to the end of the year. So it does look like some parties and celebrating, can even be connecting with your friends, going bowling, whatever it is. It does feel like you'll be doing some more activities outside of the house this winter. What crosses you, this is the seven of wands, and it does feel like you may have been put into a corner. You feel like you've been backed into a corner. This is kind of on this line here where there is the two kind of in a defensive position and something looking towards the future. So this does feel like it has something to do with your work, that either you're being gaslit, or assigned blame for something that you didn't do is what it feels like. And it feels like you're really on the defense. You are growing and you are learning a lot. And it does feel like you are not matching this kind of jive and lower energy. But it does feel like there's some misinformation floating around that has kind of landed at your feet. I don't know if someone is assigning blame to you for something, but it does feel like you have to protect your back and watch your back a little bit more this month. So we call it in the business CYA, cover your ass. Anyway, so it does feel like you have to do a little more CYA this month. Dot the I's, cross the T's, but you may have to communicate to some higher ups if it is getting untenable to work with. It does feel like someone may be either bullying you, picking on you, or making it very difficult to complete your job the way that you need to. So I'm not sure if someone is not contributing their part and kind of holding up a report or holding up an action by not contributing their part, but it's kind of reflecting bad on you, or it's being diverted onto you. Let's put it that way. So you may have to communicate, cover your butt a little bit, and see if you can resolve this. But it does feel like watch your back. Watch your back this month, Sagittarius. The Chariot is here. This is usually when you find balance. This can be aha moments. This also can be planning for a trip in the future. So you may be saving money to move into the future, into a wonderful, wonderful vacation or something. Although this wings are lighting up for me, and this insignia is lighting up for me. This does feel like medical. So you may have some medical things going on this month that you must pay attention to. Do not ignore any little signs. I don't see like the big medical insignia here, like there is a huge problem, but it does feel like something that's been kind of nagging at you needs to be looked at by a medical professional. So don't ignore it. If you've had kind of an upset stomach, or you've had some physical problems for a while and you're ignoring them and they're not getting better, Sagittarius, it's time to go check in with the doctor, get a checkup, something like that. That's really kind of vibing very intensely in this Chariot card for me. So that may be why you're a little off balance. So you may be not feeling up to par, or you may need to balance some of your meds or something like that. But it does feel like something small that can, if left untreated, can become something big, is what I'm feeling. Okay, what's in the past? This is the Three of Wands. So this does feel like you've been maybe releasing things from the past. You might have released some friendships. You might have actually gone through some physical closets or your garage and released some things. Maybe your kids moved out, or maybe somebody moved in. So it does feel like a shuffle and an organization has been happening. This may have been at home. This can be at work. you know, with friends, but it does feel like you have been rebalancing your priorities and really putting positive thought into all the effort and all the lessons and all the things that you've learned over the last couple of years. And you're really putting forward your best efforts to make those changes, to really release and any emotions, friendships, bad habits that no longer serve you. So it really looks like your slate is pretty clean right now, and that you're just, you know, cleaning out the corners of the things that you have released. But it does feel like you're coming up with some new ideas. You may have some new ideas on where to live. This does feel like there is some distance here. So you may be visiting someone in the future for the holidays. You may be even moving for a new job or some distance. There is some distance here that you're kind of looking off into the distance. It does feel like you're waiting. It is not something that's happening right now, but it does feel like an idea has been formulated and that you were moving towards that idea and kind of leaving these old things in the past that no longer work for you, or maybe didn't turn out the way that you thought that they would. So it does look like you're putting a lot of energy into future endeavors and healing yourself too. This green is lighting up. So you may have walked away from a relationship and just starting to rebuild your confidence, starting to rebuild your future as a single person, or you may have gotten married. It doesn't have to determine on somebody else, but it does feel you've had some aha moments and you have left some behaviors that were no longer serving you, some relationships that no longer were serving you, or ideas. So now you're kind of rebuilding that cache. You're rebuilding kind of your aha moments and what you want to do. Reprioritizing is the best description of what I'm seeing. Reprioritization. So the Knight of Pentacles is here. Knights are all about movement. They usually ask for something. These wands is usually a Knight of Wands. Knight of Pentacles. You know, Pentacles is about money. So usually this is news about money, material things, and it's usually for the good. So if you have, you know, maybe resolved some payments in the past or made that final payments on a student loan, you may be getting some information or some good news about, oh, you've just made your last payment, something like that. It doesn't have to be about that, but it does look like you're reorganizing your money. You're prioritizing. So you may have paid a last bill. You may have made your last child payment. So it does feel like your money is shifting a little bit and that your priorities have changed. So you may not be completely free of the financial responsibilities you have, but it does feel like the light at the end of the tunnel isn't a train, that you can see that there is a little light at the end of the tunnel. And it does feel like you may be getting a promotion. You may be trying out for another job. You may be applying for different jobs, but it does feel like one road has ended and a new one has started or about to start, Sagittarius. The Fool is here to remind you to take a leap of faith. You know, the Tarot card, the deck is all about the story of the Fool. The Fool is the zero, and that is us, as a soul, as a baby soul. And it goes along and tells the story of the Fool. So it does look like new beginnings on some arena of your life has started. That take a leap of faith. I know fire signs, you have no trouble taking that leap, but it does look like you've been a little bit tentative over the last couple of years, and there's something you've always wanted to try. You know, it could be a cooking class, could be dancing, bowling, trying your hand at writing, trying your hand at something you've always wanted to do. And this feels more like a creative endeavor than it is a have to. But it also can be, you know, trying out for your dream job. Take a leap of faith. Try something that you've always wanted to do. You know, and if that isn't the right road, you can always turn around and go another direction. But you'll never know unless you try. So that is in the future position. The Sun here is also about new beginnings, baby spirit stuff. It does feel like you might have cast off the shackles of yesteryear. You might have released some relationships that don't work for you. You may have moved. You may have cleaned out your closet. This is kind of the clean out the closet too. But it does feel like you're in a new healing space that is a real new mind space for you. And it does feel like you have a little bit more certainty and faith in yourself. You may not have as much certainty and faith in the journey because it is new and a little scary, but it does feel like you have a little renewed faith in yourself and your strengths and who you are and how you show up in the world. And it does feel like you show up in the world big time, Sagittarius. So now it's time to show up for you and do all those things that you've always wanted to do. So this can be in the professional realm. It can be in the personal realm. And it all depends on what that new endeavor is for you. But this also encourages you to take a leap of faith. Try something new. Keep it simple with this baby. You know, this baby is naked. It's not complicated. So whatever you do, keep it as simple as possible and you'll be able to manage it and while you're learning. But it does feel like, you know, don't let it get too complex because then you'll let it go. So keep it as simple as possible and follow your heart and go for it. The next one is the Two of Swords, and Two of Swords is really about balance. It's about protection. See, she's got her arms crossed over her heart. So you may have taken a real hit to the heart. This may have been within an intimate sexual relationship, or it may just have been betrayal by a friend or a coworker. But it does feel like you're kind of on the defense right now, that you're really protecting yourself, and it is right over the heart. So it does feel like it really hurt you to the core. So it does feel like you learned something very, very intense, but that you are on the other side of it. So don't be afraid to take a leap of faith. You know, go towards the love instead of the fear, because the fear will just keep you where you are and it won't help you move forward in your growth. And you've got things to do, Sagittarius. You know, you're a mover and a shaker. And so it doesn't look like you will really sit in this place too long, but it does feel like you're kind of gathering your thoughts. You may be overthinking a little bit. Where did I go wrong? What can I do better? So sit with it for a little bit, but don't prune up. Just allow yourself to release it if possible. And I know for both earth signs and for fire signs, walking around, moving your body a little bit, get good and angry, throw some rocks into the lake, whatever it takes to move past this. But it does, I know you guys don't sit in your stuff too long, but it does look like this, you really took a hit to the heart, and it is kind of keeping you in that wonderment and that hurt a little bit longer than you're used to. Temperance is here. This can also be you finding your balance again. You have had some big aha moments. I notice the predominant color here for you is yellow. So that ray of sunshine, that new beginnings and let your light shine is what's coming to me. Don't hide anymore. Don't hide your greatness so others can shine above you. And it does look like that is might have been happening, or most likely have been happening at work. Other people taking credit for your accomplishments. It does look like that will come to a stop. But you must speak your truth with love and kindness for that to happen. Temperance is finding your balance, figuring out how to do things a little differently, making it simple again, letting the anger flow behind you instead of encapsulating you and holding you in a place of resistance. Release all that. It's just the people you're mad at are just renting free space in your head. It's just taking up free space in your head, and you have a lot to give in this world. It does look like you may be asked to speak in public for some reason. This crown is lighting up for me, and that is the picture that I'm being shown. You may have a presentation at work. You may be doing a reading of some kind, but it does look like there is focus on you from outside sources, so you may be presenting something to a group of people during this month. The next card is the 6. This is kind of the floating card. I know that you're a little bit in protection here, thinking about your next move, and that's kind of what this dictates it may be time to float and let somebody else take the reins or take the blame for something else. I know that you like to volunteer and you're very, very helpful, Sagittarius, but it does feel like in the month of November, and it may be to the end of the year, to take it easy a little bit, float a little bit, assess the situation before you jump in with both feet. Let somebody else drive the bus while you assess what's going on. But it does feel like you don't always have to be the one that volunteers. You don't always have to be the one to raise your hand to do the hard things, because you are not afraid of it. But it does feel like your plate is getting a little bit full with other people's responsibility. So float a little bit. Take in what's happening before you volunteer. Assess the situation before you make a decision to go one way or the other. Just be with it a little bit. Okay, Judgment is on one side. Queen of Pentacles is on the other for clarity. Judgment is just that. It does feel like you have been judged very harshly, is what it's feeling. Instead of, sometimes when the Judgment card here, it's self-judgment, but it does feel like you have been unfairly judged and unfairly maligned or assigned blame for something. But the truth will set you free, and the truth will always bubble to the top. So you may have to have some difficult conversations at work. This may be a home situation. This may be, you know, the home dynamic. Maybe you've always been the responsible one or the one to do things for mom, dad, or whatever. And it does look like you're going to have to let some things fall. Don't be hard on yourself. You are moving out of this, but it does feel like you have been looked at unfairly, and that it has really hurt your heart, because that has not been your intention, and that has not been your driving force either. You're pretty much an open book. What you see is what you get. So to be blamed for something that is not yours is a little harsh. Feels a little harsh and uncomfortable to you. So, and for those of you that haven't had the dynamics at work like this usually is a preconceived idea or a harsh judgment. It feels like it's a harsh judgment to you, not from you. So, grain of salt, take it with a grain of salt. If they're not paying your rent, it doesn't really matter what they think. So, you know your integrity. That's basically, you know your integrity. The Queen of Pentacles is here. Pentacles can be an earth sign. This can be a woman. I don't really assign gender to these cards, but Queen of Pentacles is usually someone who's wise or over 40. And Pentacles indicates earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. So this does actually feel like a person. So this may be a person that is throwing you that judgment that's really not working for you. But when the Queen of Pentacles shows up, she's here about earthly things. She's usually generous, a good manager, can be very, very practical, and a good advisor. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask for advice from this Queen of Pentacles if you feel like you need more clarity or you need somebody to kind of hear what's going on your side of things. Okay, Sagittarius, that's your general reading for the month of November. I also have these Lovers Oracle that I just got, and I thought that I would use them. So they're a little difficult to shuffle. That looks like that one wants to come out. Let's see what this says. Soulmate. Your soulmate is already with you in spirit. Believe this and they will manifest physically. So for those of you that aren't in relationships, still hold the vision. For those of you within the relationship, hold the vision that you will grow together into that soulmate if you're not already. Or release. To be with the soulmate if you're not with one now.